got to play Moonrakers. So this is one that came across Randy's Facebook feed.
For the last 2 years, incessantly came up on my Facebook scroll.
So they pay well on the advertisements. But, so Randy ended up eventually caving and got it. But before we get into this particular game, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell because you want to see our journey across over 3,000 board games. So it's super exciting. So Randy, tell us more about Moonrakers.
So Moonrakers was a 2020 release. It has a Board Game Geek rating currently of 7.9 and a Board Game Geek rank of 1697. It is 1 to 5 players, average length of 60 to 120 minutes. I think that's about what we played it in.
Yeah, I think that's correct.
Age is 14 and up. Probably, I mean, because you've got to be able to handle some
of the text is pretty
negotiating and the design is by Austin Harrison, Max Anderson, and Zach Dixon.
Mm-hmm.
Art is by Lunar Saloon. I'm assuming that's a company, not a person's name. And published by Ivy Games. As far as I know, this is their only release. I didn't go and check to see if they had any others, but this is definitely the one that is on their website and the one they market the heck out of.
Oh, okay.
Right now, it's listed on Board Game Geek. It's not retail. You can't find it in any stores I know of. But you can order it direct from their website. And then on Board Game Geek, there's someone trying to sell it $80 like new, which is odd because you can go to their website. You can get the base game for $65. Now, there's a Shard expansion, which is $12, which would be on top of that. And the Board Game Geek listing did include that. Other than that, they said it had metal coins, which comes standard in the game. So there's really no, maybe you can buy additional coins, and maybe that's what they did. But they listed it just saying it has metal coins. Well, yeah, the game includes metal coins, so of course it does. You can get playmats. We bought the playmats. You can get these completely superficial metal ships, which we'll talk to about in a minute. All of those things are available on the site, sleeves, anything you could imagine that would associate with this game. So that's that.
All right, so let's talk about quality of components. So the cards do have a little bit of a linen finish. It's not heavy on the linen finish.
They're very thin, though. They bend very easily. So you have to be very careful with them. I definitely think we're going to want to get sleeves for these cards because they just are. I've seen a few thumbprints already in bending them.
Right. Well, that and you do shuffle these quite a bit. It is a deck building game, so of course you're going to do a lot of shuffling.
Yeah.
So that's fully anticipated part of having card games. All right. So let's beyond that. So what comes standard is you do have metal coins.
They're very nice metal coins.
They are very. I agree with that one. Then you get these plastic ships, but we obviously upgraded to the metal, and Randy will put pictures of the differences.
Oh, yes.
I kind of like the metal, although I think the plastic's fine too.
Plastic are fine. I think that the metal minis were $35. I don't think it was probably worth $35.
Whew, just for these 5 ships?
For those 5 ships. $7 a piece.
No.
Yeah, it was not worth $35.
Don't do that.
Yeah, the plastic ones are fine.
Why'd we do that?
Because I'm insane.
Okay, just glad we covered that. All right. So overall, I'm really $35.
Yes. And the other thing
I'm working on it, guys. I'm trying to absorb that.
The playmats, I was a little disappointed because the playmats replace 2 of the boards. They replace the central boards, if you will. But the player boards, they don't have any player mats for. So you basically your playmat, you're playing for yourself, you have to use the cardboard. Now granted, you're not pulling cards off and on of it very often, so it's not that big of a deal, and they're very pretty. Right. That's one of the things I say. They did a really nice job on the boards, but they custom made them. Each ship has its own custom board, each color goes along with the ship, and they're all custom. The central boards are fine. I don't think the playmats were actually worth the $25 either. The only thing is
those are pretty.
They are very pretty. Everything is very pretty. They didn't have a spot for the cards that go out. They just have open space. So if you're playing on a standard wood table, trying to pick up the cards is going to be tough. And somebody in our house, frequently at our house anyway, has a propensity to bend our cards. So,
I don't think is it me?
no, I said someone who's frequently at our house.
Oh, okay.
Your father.
Hey.
Yes. So.
True. I mean, but overall, looking at so here's the thing. So what comes standard, they do have a lot of upgrade components that you could get. I think we got all of the upgrades is what.
Well, yeah, because, I mean, everything in the base game is super nice. I mean, the box has metal sheen on it, which is very pretty.
Right. Well, you're looking at the boards.
Player boards have a sheen on them. They're very pretty.
Yeah. I almost think those are prettier than the playmats, to be quite honest. Maybe not as functional, but...
Yeah. I will say the thing that I'm most disappointed on are the cards. I mean, they just, compared to everything else, they look very basic. They're very... I guess it's because they're trying to make it look like a computer terminal image, but
it fits the theme.
It fits the theme, but it's so dark. I mean, everything in this game is dark.
Well,
and the game is not.
They added. I mean, they tried to add color.
They've got color, but like the imagery on it, they did a nice job with the pictures, but then they're so faded, it all kind of just blends together on the
Well,
the cards.
I mean, I kind of understand the aesthetic appeal but that's more...
Yeah, we're talking about theme now. I think we're moved from quality to theme.
Well, let's give quality of theme a score first. So we take it in two things. Standard versus all the upgrades.
Yeah.
I'm feeling like some of the upgrades kind of weren't worth the cost.
No, I definitely think I would.
Although,
if you just bought the base game, you're getting a really upgraded game. I mean, you don't need all the upgrades. If I were rating just the base game itself, I'm probably at I don't know, the cards really bring it down for me because that's the central part of the game and they're very flimsy. Although I do like the feel of them. I'll give it an 8.5 because I think it probably deserves a 9 to a 10 otherwise, but the cards being the main portion of the game and they're so easy to bend, I think I'm going to...
You're going to have to give them sleeves. We just have to accept
we have to get sleeves for
it. They're going to go on sleeves.
But the coins are amazing. Even the plastic ships are nice.
Yeah.
The dice are really cool.
Well, the fact that each ship is different too. Yeah. So like, and listen, I don't understand $7 for this little Betty thing, but I'm sure there's a cost in molds and there's some sell quantity there.
Well, I mean, first of all, this game is self-produced apparently and sold only from their website. And the Kickstarter, right? I'm assuming it was a Kickstarter.
Yeah, I mean, and my thing is the fact that each ship is different and looks very different, and and that's kind of, I guess, going with theme. I agree with your assessment, though. So what would you give the deluxe version, though?
I mean, the playmats are nice in the sense that they do make it so you don't have to worry about cards sticking to the table and bending. I'll probably give it a 9 with the playmats. They don't add a whole lot.
Yeah.
And the metal figures are cool, but not worth the price.
Yeah, like I'm glad we have them, but I'm a little disheartened by the amount we paid for them. And I think I agree with you on both fronts. I think quality, there's a lot of good things going on. I love the metal coins, and I like the boards. They have a really nice feel and texture to them. But, like you said, the cards are a little flimsy. When I was shuffling, there were a couple of times I'm like, oh, don't bend.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, no, I'm going to kill the cards. So that is very frustrating when you play a card game when you do a lot of shuffling. So, and then you lose that linen finish when you put them in sleeves. So what was the point,
Yeah, exactly.
Like, do it right. So on that front, I agree with you. Now, moving on to theme. So I know you think that the art's kind of dark, but I do think it lends itself to like the schematics theme.
Yeah.
And it does feel like that. It feels very spacey.
Yeah, the player boards look amazing dark with the schematics. I think that's fine. It's just that the card art is just so basic. I mean, everything's rectangular. I guess it's supposed to look, like I said, like a computer terminal screen, but it's just so dark. Everything about the game is so dark that things just blend in with each other, in my opinion. I would like to see, I don't have the problem. The problem I think is the picture in the background just fades away. It's the imagery for the iconography and everything stands out very clear, but it looks like it's very basic.
I mean, here's my thing. I think it fits the theme, though. I'm going to have to disagree with you. I mean, my thing is they probably used a generic font where they didn't have to spend extra on it, but they got the most spacey themed looked non-special font that you get, and I think that's okay. I think it still fits. You know, all the art, that schematic feel does feel very spacey to me. I will say the people art is a little disappointing because they all have really big heads and some with no necks.
They're in space, so their heads expand in the low pressure.
But no neck. We don't do necks?
Well,
like necks are not allowed?
No, the head just takes up the space of the neck when you're in space.
Oh, okay.
Everybody knows that.
So that one's my actually only grievance with the art. I don't understand the portraits. Everything else I'm actually fine with. But you didn't give a score for your theme.
No, I didn't, because I haven't finished the theme. So first of all, they include a comic book in the base game.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
It has a backstory, and it has, it is definitely a Kickstarter. They have founder manifest, so it's got the people who invested in the Kickstarter in it. So, or at least it's one of the crowdfunding ones. But yeah, it gives you a little flavor of the universe it's set in.
That's actually really kind of cool.
So that is cool, and it's included in the base game. And just, the overall look of this is really cool. Apart from the cards, I just think the cards detract from the overall look. Given that, I'm still probably going to give this a 9 because I think they went above and beyond as far as putting together a space theme for this game. It gives it a unique feel. It doesn't feel just like a generic space.
You're right. I do think that there are a lot of details. I like the fact that my ship matches my shipboard, which, I mean, there was just some things in there. There's some continuity that those details matter, and they ended up showing out, right? They did their thing. So I appreciate that. I agree with you, a 9 on theme. All right, so let's move to actual rule book. I didn't.
Yeah, the rule book looks like a manual you might have.
But they have
for
a
your
really
spaceship.
good cheat sheet.
The cheat sheet is really good. The manual looks like what you would get if you're operating your spaceship. This is your owner's manual.
Yeah.
And the thing is apparently it's universally accepted all through space that you have zip extensions and TXT extensions, and they have the standard extensions of what you see on Earth for the endings of your prefixes or your would be suffixes, I guess, for your files that you're storing.
I have no idea what you're talking about right now.
Like text files are .txt typically.
Oh,
Word
.html.
documents are .doc.
Oh,
so
okay.
If you got a zip file, that's ZIP.
So you just showed out
my computer nerdiness. Yes, I deal in that all the time. So it's just kind of funny.
You would notice that. I wouldn't have even.
That these alien races have all adopted the Microsoft standards.
Microsoft,
is
they
going
try
to
to
take over the universe.
Yeah, I mean, it's a thing. I could see them doing it.
So the book is actually pretty long. It's 38 pages.
What they do?
They put in here a lot of blank pages is what they did. There's a whole lot of just empty space in this book.
Why did they do that? That's gotta cost them for
well, I mean, they tried to make it look like a owner's manual of a ship. So they have they got them sectioned nicely: game setup, gameplay glossary, and you can look at the side and see exactly where to go.
That's kind of nice.
I like that. The game is really not that difficult. I think you could have probably done this in about half this pages. But it is all of it looks like computer text. As far as the futuristic text that they got throughout the game. So it stays consistent. There's an IMG for image files. So there's all those nomenclatures universally accepted. So all in all, I mean, it taught the game well. There was no confusion, and it does look cool. It doesn't need to be this. No, if you're an environmentalist, you're probably going to be cringing when you get this book out because of all the excess space.
Well, you're going to keep it, so it's fine.
But it looks neat, and it goes with the rest of the theme. I mean, I'll give it probably a 9. I mean, it's a cool book. Okay. It does its job, and it looks neat.
Okay, cool. All right, so now let's talk about gameplay. So Luckily, you have a handy dandy cheat sheet, okay? And so when you start out your turn, you have 5 cards from your deck. That's pretty standard.
But to start, I set up mine over here as a starter. You're going to have 2 coin to start the game, and printed nicely, really cool on the board in very bright color. The only thing that's color on your board is the starting.
Your top is
the starting cards. Yeah, well, your color of your player. But at the bottom, they have the starting cards laid out there. So it's very easy to set this up because you just get the board out. Oh, I need to get 3 of the reactors, these blue cards, 2 thrusters. There's my 2 thrusters. I need 2 shields. There's my 2 shields, 2 damage, and then 1 miss, which just takes up space in your deck.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's very easy to set this game up because it's right there on your player board.
Oh, perfect. All right, so you're going to have 5 cards in your hand to start at the game. And so you have 2 options. The easiest one to explain is option 2 is stay at base. You won't do this very often, but you may look at your hand and you're like, this is crap. Okay, so you decide to basically discard your hand. But for doing that, basically for losing a turn, you get to take 1 credit. You get to draw 2 objectives. You get to keep 1. And then you can optionally discard a contract and replace it, which is up here. So there was one time where all the contracts were so hard. I mean, my hand wasn't bad, but there was a lot of hard contracts that I ended up discarding a hard one, and because my hand couldn't support any.
No, it was early in the
contracts.
game. We had 2 4s on 4 levels on the board.
Listen,
yeah, that was bad.
It was painful. Okay, listen, we had problems. All right, so but with that being said, okay, so that's option 1. Now you'll do some additional, and we'll talk about either option. You get to do some other stuff at the end of the game or at the end of the turn, but. So next up is option 1. So then I'm going to select a contract. Well, this one actually looks pretty easy for me to complete. So the requirements are I need 3 thrusts and 1 person, okay, to play on my deck, okay? And then I will roll 1 hazard dice, which you see over here on this side. And then my what I get for succeeding at the mission is over here in this quarter, which in this case is a victory point, 2 coin, and a card. That's free. Okay, so first I'm going to roll my...
Well, first you have to decide.
Oh, yeah.
Are you going to do it alone, or are you going to... Well, right now let's... Okay.
Yeah, so there's a couple of things. So you got to figure...
The central board is just for 2 player or 1 player. So.
Oh, okay. Well, we played 2 players, so
yeah.
this is what I know.
All right,
so first you have to decide whether you can do it alone or not alone. So I can look at my hand. So I have a lot of actions, but I don't have any thrusts, and there's no thrust on this board. So I can be like... Hey, Randy, want to help a girl out? Like, I'm willing to sacrifice the free card I get if you would like to help me.
And I can decide whether I want to contribute to her or not. But we can negotiate out of the spoils of this card what I get if I help out. So...
Like I said, I'm offering him a free card.
And I will ask her what she needs. You know, what are you lacking?
I'm lacking a lot of thrusters, my friend.
Well, I can help a little on the thrusters.
No, I need like all thrusters.
Well,
maybe this one wasn't good for me to choose.
I can potentially do that.
Oh, I do have 1 less thruster just because of my ship parts. Which
so when I'm negotiating, I don't have to be legit in what I'm negotiating with. If I have a really bad hand and I just wanted to discard my hand, because I get to play my hand along with her when we go in to try to beat this.
He could be a jerk.
I could be just, buffaloing and deciding I'm going to throw away my cards.
Yeah, but you got to realize that if you need help, I mean, you don't want to like sour the whole table against you because then,
no.
Yeah. No, but I'm saying is, yes, you can, but just being aware
just remember that somebody else could do it to you.
Yeah, so take that for what you will.
So now we got to determine what we're going to get out of the deal. So
I offered
anything is fair game that's on the card. You cannot offer anything in your possession. You cannot offer coins from your possession. You cannot offer cards or anything that you own. So I can offer. I will take 2 coin for completing it.
Oh, okay, sure. Versus a card, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, you can have 2 coin. All right, so then I roll the hazard dice, okay? Oh, good, I have nothing. But if I were to have something...
Keep in mind, though, I'm using my starter deck, which only has 2 thrusters.
I know, I get 1 less.
Oh, okay.
All right, so I say I have 1 less. Okay, so say I rolled a 1 instead of 0. So that means I need to shield to be able to defend against that hazard. If I don't, I actually lose a victory point. So kind of keeping that in mind. All right.
Now, wait, before we get going, this plays a lot like Dominion when you play your cards.
Correct.
You only can play one card. Now, I can play a card and she can play a card since we're both going on this mission together now. Now, she assumed the risk of that die. I could have just as easily said, I will take the 2 coins and accept the die roll if I had a shield that I wanted to play to help her out. So you can make any kind of arrangement, including the penalty.
Right.
Now, in order to play more cards, you have to have reactors, because that's, I think, the only thing we saw in the game. Maybe some of the special abilities. No, some of the special abilities of the people.
The people gave you actions. I've got another action from a ship part.
Some of the
so there's other ways to get other actions, But yeah,
most likely you're going to need these blue cards to get more actions, or else you're going to only get to play one card towards that goal.
Well, and I'll be honest, it's like I want my decks to be heavy of the blue and the thrusters because they can be more cards, right? Like there's, and there's a balance of, all right, I need energy I need actions to play them, but I also need the cards to be able to play those actions, because there was a couple of turns where it was just I had all blue cards, nothing to actually play. But then I started building up on my cards, and then, my energy became a little less. So you just got to balance that. That's all part of deck management.
All right, so let you go first to play yours out.
So I have, I'm going to subtract 1 from any requirement, and I've already got 1 less thruster, so I'm going to have you down 2 thrusters, and I have a shield. So that's where I'm at. So all you need to play is a thruster.
Well, then you're in luck. Because I could play an action, an action, an action, and 2 thrusters.
Woohoo!
So I draw 2. I would finish out my turn getting rid of whatever cards. They would go to my discard pile. She managed to complete her goal, so I would get 2 coins.
So I would get a victory point.
6 are right here.
Yep.
So the goal is to get to 10 victory points. If you get to 10 victory points, you win the game immediately.
Right, and then now I get a card, so I could choose either from the ship part deck or from the people deck, and then I get to take that and either put it on my ship or put it in my hand if it's people, and that increases my deck.
Then she has to suffer this penalty, but since she had the shield, it countered it. Now, if she had not had the shield, she would have lost that victory point. You lose the victory points you already own. You don't lose any if you're gaining them. And so if you're at 0 at the beginning of the game, there's really no risk, because if you get hit, you're not going to go back.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that 5 points I lost.
Yeah, she went for the gusto during the game and tried to go after
I was short one card.
And she rolled
because I forgot I discarded it.
These attack dice have 0, 1, or 2.
I rolled 3 2s. It was awful.
And she had no shields.
I wanted to cry. Okay, so that's kind of what that turn looks like. Okay, so now either option, so that's one option, or I could have done the other option of basically skipping my turn. Now I get to buy. So I earned no coins, so I'm very sad I can't buy anything. But if I were to have coins, say I had a couple of coins, I could choose to either buy or hire a person or buy a ship part to upgrade my ship. Now, it looks like my ship is full. I love my upgrade, so I'm going to buy a person instead. Now, you can buy as many cards as you have money for. Money's hard to come by, so
Well, it depends on which mission. Some of the missions give you 7 or 8 coin. I mean,
that's true. The one time I did, I bought an expensive card because it was super nice. Start of every contract with 1 action, so that cost me 6 coins.
So now as the ally that helped her, I don't get to purchase. It's not my turn. I only get to participate in that one piece of that round, and then I discard my hand and draw 5 more cards.
So same thing. So my turn's over and I draw 5 and then he starts his turn. So you keep going until someone hits the 10 victory points. And that's that. So overall, I think there were some, I liked the contract mechanism that they have here. I thought that was actually pretty cool. I'm trying to recall of a deck builder that kind of does this, and I don't, right? Like
I can't think of one where you take allies. I mean, there's ones where you go on missions, but
even then the missions aren't, it's strictly damage based. It's not, oh, you have to have enough thrusters, you have to have enough people, oh, you have to have enough energy cards.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just being able to play all your cards, it's about playing what kind of cards you have in your, that I think is very different, and I actually really like that because it has a little more puzzle to it, to making sure that you're, can I complete that? And then, like you said, gaining that allied. We didn't do that a lot because it was a 2-player. I think with more players, I think you'd be willing to do that.
I think this game, it's okay. It's pretty good as a 2-player, but I think it would be way better as 3, 4, or 5.
I agree with you on that. I think 4 would be fun because of the tag teaming that would happen. And you could do a little bit more. And when you have more players, a little more betrayal can happen because you still have other people that could, you're not totally screwing the other person over, where they won't do anything with you anymore. So I think that would be beneficial as well.
Yeah, I also like that they have a wide range of contracts that go from, you could get ones with 0 to 1 victory point, or you can get ones that are 5 victory points. So given the fact that it's only a 10-point game, you could have somebody who's kind of far back in the pack that just suddenly wins the game.
Or lose like I did, and I lost everything because I was short one
very close
card.
to winning.
Yeah, well, that would have made me win or lose. And I knew I was super close, but I had forgotten I discarded my other thruster, so my count was off. So I'm really sad about that still. I'm going to be thinking about that for a while. I can't believe I forgot I discarded it. But yeah, no, overall, this was a lot of fun. It was definitely interesting and new, and I think it would be a lot better at, more players. So what would you give it as score-wise, though?
I enjoyed this a lot. I like the mechanics of it. I'm pleasantly surprised, considering as much as it's being spammed on me on Facebook, I figured, it was probably not going to live up to expectations.
And you still bought it?
Well, I got tired of seeing it. My hope is that somehow magically now they know I have it, so they'll stop sending me ads on Facebook for it.
That is so awful.
Then if they don't, they're going to send me more mattress ads, which I still don't understand why I get.
It's because it overheard us.
Yeah, they're just saying we need a bigger bed. So, yeah, my mattress ads flood me now. So, yeah, I think, this is a fun game. Given we played it at 2-player, I'm thinking probably at 2, it's probably about 8. I'd say if at a higher player count, it's probably going to be 8.5 to 9 territory.
I can definitely see that. I really enjoyed it. I think it was fun. I think it was a little bit different on the space theme, and I enjoyed it. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and hopefully you'll come back and hang out with us again. See you guys later.
Bye.